Meanwhile, activists in Ukraine had planned demonstrations even before the decision was taken at the NATO summit. Crowds has taken to the streets of the capital Kiev in protest at the country's attempt to join the North Atlantic Alliance. And we're now joined live by our correspondent Yulia Popova, who brings us the latest. Yulia, thank you very much for joining us. So we know that the population of Ukraine is divided over President Yushchenko's bid to join NATO. So could you tell us what actions are planned by the protesters in Kiev?
Well, this can hardly be called a protest. This is rather a celebration organized by the opponents to Ukraine's accession into NATO. The Party of Regions, which has a rather large representation in Ukraine's parliament, they organized this event today. They invited singers from Russia to support Ukraine and actually to celebrate the refusal of Ukraine at the NATO summit in Bucharest today. Similar protests or events and concerts are taking place across eastern parts of Ukraine, where a lot more people have taken to the streets because most of people who are against NATO come from those regions. They see Russia as their priority rather than a union with NATO. While here in Ukraine it's rather wet today, therefore the organizers say that they expected more people here at the central square of Kiev. But at the moment, according to the estimations, up to 2,000 people are at the concert today celebrating the decision at the NATO summit in Bucharest.
Yeah, and how do you think NATO's decision to postpone Ukrainian membership into the alliance will affect the country's domestic affairs?
Well, NATO has been on the table, on the political table for years, and it has always been a divisive question in Ukrainian politics. The opposition represented by the Party of Regions and the Party of Communists at the parliament at the moment that strongly oppose this move, and they say that primarily it's because they want to keep strong ties with Russia rather than NATO. Well, the pro-orange parties, the pro-Western government now heard by Yulia Tymoshenko and President Viktor Yushchenko, they don't consider it as a loss. They say that Ukraine's decision, that NATO's decision on Ukraine's accession has been postponed and that Ukraine has not received a decisive no. Well, this is a day of celebration for the opposition parties here in Kiev and across the east of Ukraine, and according to the ex-vice premier Yuri Boyka, people first of all are happy about what has happened in Bucharest today because they want to see stronger ties with Russia.
It's not good for our connections between us and Russia, between which we have very long history, very good cultural, economical connections, and that's why we are against this decision.
Well, their opponents, that's the Ukraine party, Yulia Tymoshenko's bloc, say that they have double standards because of this. 5 years ago, in 2003, when Ukraine was adopting its law on national security, the Party of Regions have voted for this law, and part of it has been Ukraine's accession into NATO.
Right, Yulia, and we know that there is a referendum planned in Ukraine on the question of joining NATO. So what can you tell us on that?
Well, the referendum, of course, is very important for the Ukrainian people. Most of them in the opinion polls say that they'd like to express their opinion before Ukraine joins NATO, but it's not the immediate reason why the majority would have voted against NATO if the referendum took place today. First of all, it's the deterioration of relations with Russia, and secondly, most Ukrainians, about 60% of them, according to opinion polls, are against military operations of NATO. They fear that their men could be taken to war. Well, this is indeed a divisive question for the Ukrainian people. Most of those in the east who are out on the streets today celebrating the refusal in Bucharest are against NATO, and the west of Ukraine, and about 20 to 25% of people there, they would like to see Ukraine as a part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
All right, Yulia, thank you very much indeed for that update. Yulia Popova reporting there from the